Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be episode 1 of something that I'm a little hesitant to start. I've been sitting on this for a long time, since the game is released pretty much. I wasn't sure, when I would do it. I fired it up earlier today, and I'm thinking, man, character creation is so deep. Like, would I even be able to actually do it? And I'm still not sure. Like, this could possibly go 2 episodes or 200. I feel like I'm in the mood for a really deep, engrossing RPG, but we'll have to see how it works out because there's a lot of reading, and you guys know I like to read everything and take it slow and kind of do my own thing with it, so I guess we'll see how it goes. So this is the tentative start of a new Let's Try, and this is episode 1 of Let's Try Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous Enhanced Edition. Booyah. So, like I said, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm a little in awe of how deep this RPG is. Like, there's a lot going on here. And, we'll see how it goes. Owlcat Games doing their thing. Shout out to Owlcat. And M, that must stand for me. Game God Fluent. It's going to be interesting, I think, no matter how we rock it here. No matter what happens. 2021. It was already that long ago. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. I did not change the audio. Okay, we're back, and here we are. I don't even think all the DLC is out yet. Like, I have all of it so far, but I think there's going to be even more. It's at the settings, guys. Even the settings are daunting. I don't really want to send game stats. Sending of save games, not right now. Improved crusade loading times, sure. Action bar slots, autofill, I never liked that. Enable looting during combat, font size, bloodstains, gore, quick movement. Increases character's movement speed while out of combat, no. Immersive mode, disables all interface hints, no. Autosave, 3 autosave slots, we'll make it 5. 5 quick save slots. Offer importing from completed DLC campaigns, yeah, sure. Look at all the tutorials even. My goodness, this game is massive. Let's see. I'm not going to play in turn-based mode. Auto-interrupt movement. Oh, this is just for turn-based mode. We're not going to worry about that. Combat text. Let's have it all. Show names on selection. Show party member HP on highlight hotkey. Show text HP instead of HP bar. Show party members' actions when idle. What does that mean? Attack intentions of party members on selection. Show spellcasting intentions on selection. Cooldown timers on selection. Enemy information. Enemy name on mouse hover. Enemy HP on pause. Enemy actions on pause, enemy intentions on mouse hover, cooldown timers on mouse hover, okay. All this dialogue stuff on. Auto pause, pause on lost focus. Keep moving after combat start. Enable this option to force the party to continue moving to the specified point even if combat begins. No. Pause when trap is detected, yes. When a hidden object is detected, no. When combat start, when melee combat start, beginning of each turn, end of each round, party member uses an ability. When an ally is down. We'll put that on. New enemy appears. You guys can read this. I am reading it. I'm just trying to go a little faster. Pause when an enemy is spotted. I like that. Weapon is ineffective. Pause when the party is attacked. Well, yeah. Okay. We'll apply that. Save it. Now we go to the controls. Oh my gosh. Screen edge scrolling. We're going to turn that off. Right mouse button standard. Duplicates the left mouse button click. Okay, highlight objects is tab. That's all I need to know. Graphics. Save that. I have everything turned on to the highest it goes. Hopefully this is okay while recording. We'll see how it goes. If this video is choppy, I'll fix it for the next one. Look at this sound. My goodness. Okay. Alright, I think we're ready to make a character. It's a new game. We're going to be playing the main story. Join the struggle against the World Wound, the epic war between Galarian and the Abyss that has raged for more than 100 years. Up to now, the Crusader armies have barely managed to curb the overwhelming enemy forces, but not for much longer. The Demon Lords are preparing to strike a decisive blow. You will have to harness mythic powers, take command of the 5th Crusade, and lead it against the demonic hordes. Alright, let's go, son. Next, game difficulty. I'm going to put it on core, even though it's not recommended unless you're familiar with the Pathfinder system. I've pretty much forgotten most of the Pathfinder system, but I'm going to put it on core anyway. We'll learn. Critical hits, normal, death's door. Okay, will not die after suffering a deadly injury, will instead receive a death's door condition. And if they suffer a deadly injury while under that, they die. Okay, we'll keep that off. Dead companions rise after combat, off. Remove negative effects on rest, off. Remove controlling effects after combat, on, good. Auto level up, no. Enemy stat adjustments, none. 1.0 damage to party, number of enemies is increased. Additional enemy behaviors. I kind of want to put that on. I mean, it's probably going to make it harder though, right? Choosing this difficulty is not recommended for the players not familiar with the system as well as its implementation. We'll just put it on core. We'll keep core as it is. I'm not here to change anything. Speed depends on the weight you're carrying. Weather effects heavy. Enable character retrain off. When enabled, allows a certain NPC in the game to retrain your characters. Yeah, we'll keep that off. Crusade management difficulty standard. Crusade auto, no. Only active companions receive XP. Only skill user receives skill check experience. Wow. Last Aslanti mode. Only one save slot available, no. And show tutorial is on. Alright, so that's what we're playing on basic core. Ready to get smashed. Now here's the part where this is probably going to take not just one episode, but maybe even multiple episodes. So if you guys aren't, wanting to like really dig in deep here and read a lot of text, well, I'm going to read it. But if you're not into that thing, then I would suggest maybe watching a different video. We're going to really try to dig in here. So first of all, we can create a pre-generated character, which we're not going to do. But as you can see, there's a cavalier, a cleric, a fighter, a rogue, a slayer, and a sorcerer. Everything you need to just jump in. We're going to click custom character. And this is where the fun begins, guys. Create your champion from scratch. Choose their race, class, gender, and alignment. Customize their appearance and finally tune their ability, skills, and feats. Let's go, son. Alright, so we pick a picture first. That's interesting. I don't have any sort of special portraits or anything downloaded. We're just going to use what's here. I think they've gone as far as to remove the portraits that other characters in the game use, like actual NPCs you come across. I could be wrong about that, but I didn't know. I noticed in the Kingmaker section, like, none of these portraits are familiar to me. So they must be additional portraits. Maybe. Like, I don't see Octavia. I don't see the others. So I think these are custom, pretty much. And I assume the same for these portraits. Like, we're not going to pick this guy and he's going to be like the king or something portrait. But picking a portrait first, like, I don't really know, because I don't know who my character's going to be yet, so I don't know any of these peeps. You know, who we're gonna be. So we'll just take this character for now, but I guess we'll come back. Let's go to class. This is where it gets really crazy. So I've only played this for like 45 minutes off camera, and I never actually got past character creation. I was just looking around and stuff. So there are a lot of classes here, and that is what we love about games like this. So the base classes, there's Alchemist, Arcanist, Barbarian, Bard, Blood Rager, Cavalier, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Hunter, Inquisitor, Kineticist, Magus, Monk, Oracle, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Shaman, Shifter, Skald, Slayer, Sorcerer, War Priest, Witch, and Wizard, and then these advanced classes, which are Winter Witch, Student of War, Stalwart, Defender, Mystic Theurge, Lore Master, Hell Knight Signifier, Hell Knight, Eldritch Knight, Duelist, Dragon Disciple, Assassin, Arcane Trickster, and Aldori Sword Lord. So these have prerequisites, basically. We may be able to make them at character creation if we fulfill the prerequisites, but some of those classes, if not all, require usually higher stats and stuff. And then within the base classes, each of them have like 1, 2, 3, like 7 different varieties. Oh my gosh. And I actually want to go through, well, I was going to go through all of them, but I'm thinking now that, like, we'll probably just maybe, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm probably not going to be a barbarian, so I'm not going to read much about barbarian. Arcanist, specialists of arcane magic. They apply a wide array of spells that make them useful in a lot of different situations. After resting, they choose a limited amount of spells they can use that day. Arcanists are capable of making their spells more powerful. 4-star difficulty. So it shows you the difficulty, it shows you the pre-made balance. So they have very little melee in this direction, ranged, and defense, very little of all three of those. They have a little bit of support, a little more of control, and a whole lot of magic. And just to go over these, like melee combat, relative effectiveness of class in melee combat while using the pre-made build, so the basic build here, effectiveness in ranged, control, summoning creatures and controlling enemies while using, the pre-made build, magic, casting offensive magic, support is supporting and improving battle capabilities of the party, and defense is defense, dodging, and saving throws. So I hadn't really thought of who I'm going to be actually, like, and if I'm going to go through each one, like usually I played an archaeologist in the first game, which I think falls under Bard. No stodgy researcher, this archaeologist meets his research head-on in the field. Archaeologists sacrifice the Bard's inspirational performance for a smattering of rogue talents. And if we look at bards, bard is one of the best support classes in the game. As we can see, they're full in support. Whoops. Wielding a lot of arcane spells. In addition to empowering the allies, they can heal them, as well as control and weaken the enemies. Bards are well versed in many skills like disarming traps and are especially good at passing lore and knowledge checks. So they do have a little ranged combat. Pretty good in control, pretty good in magic, and full-on support. Their features are performances most commonly help to empower the allies, but they also can control or weaken the enemies. This ability has a wide area of effect. As the bard advances, they learn new songs with different effects. Bard talent: as a bard advances, they choose additional feats and abilities that make them more powerful in combat and more useful outside it. So that sounds pretty interesting, because archaeologists, now not only are there these subclasses, but they could change, pretty drastically. Like performance, I think, is removed entirely. Yeah, sacrifice the inspirational performance for a smattering of rogue talents. So they get rogue talents. We can see archaeologist luck was added by the archetype, while inspire courage, which was a performance, that's removed. So it just shows you what's removed and added. You still get bard proficiencies, cantrips, and bardic knowledge. But that's what I was in the first game. They're obviously a little bit tweaked here for the second installment. 3-star difficulty as how to handle this class. But we have to go through most of these classes because we don't know what's going to pop up. Like, you wouldn't think an archaeologist would be a bard, really. Plus, there's a beast tamer, a flame dancer, so it really would help to look at all of them, but I don't think I'm going to, unless there's a class that really stands out to me. I don't even know what half of these are. What's a shifter? The shifter class. Okay, we're going to start at the beginning. Alchemist. Because this is pretty new to me after not playing, Kingmaker in several years. Alchemist is an unusual class that employs a vast arsenal of handmade potions, extracts, elixirs, and even bombs. Bombs are a ranged area of effect weapon, the alchemist's main weapon. They learn a lot of arcane spells, but instead of casting them normally, an alchemist prepares them as extracts. So we can see they're great support, very good defensive class, surprisingly. No melee, pretty decent range, no control, and little magic. But see, each subclass doesn't have its own balance chart, so I don't think I'm going to be an alchemist. This is one who's a Chirurgian, is an alchemist who studies anatomy and uses this knowledge to heal. Sounds pretty cool, actually. You're like you're a chirurgeon. Then there's a grenadier. Grenadiers train to exercise their talents in the thick of battle, even when not under the influence of their mutagens. They learn methods of combining weapon attacks with their alchemical magic and sacrifice skill with poisons in order to become more adept at using alchemical bombs or using alchemical items in conjunction with their martial skills. As an unusual side effect of their skill at handling bombs and alchemical items with increased speed, Grenadiers master the ability to drink potions, elixirs, and mutagens quickly and safely without exposing themselves to peril while doing so. Pretty cool. Incense synthesizer. Some alchemists focus their efforts on researching different kinds of incenses to aid them and their allies in battle against the forces of evil. Metamorph. They eschew traditional alchemy, focusing on internal chemistry and the transfiguration of living forms. Preservationist is an alchemist who keeps preserved specimens in bottles and releases them to aid him in his battles. What are preserved specimens? Okay. Reanimator is an alchemist who has discovered how to infuse a corpse with a semblance of life. That's pretty cool. Like a necromancer, but not exactly the same. as we know them. Vivisectionist studies bodies to better understand their function. Unlike a chirurgeon, a vivisectionist's goals are not related to healing, but rather to experimentation and knowledge that most people would consider evil. Then there's the Arcanist, which we went over. Arcanists are capable of making their spells more powerful. Brown Fur Transmuter. Frequently called brown furs, these transmutation-focused Arcanists are known for transforming themselves into animals. What few realize is that these specialized Arcanists excel at turning themselves and others into all kinds of creatures. Pretty wild. Eldritch Font. For some Arcanists, the power bubbling up from within is nearly too much to contain. They become adept at shaping this magical energy without needing to bind it up in spells. They just become a font of power. Magic Deceiver. Some learn magic to gain power, others in pursuit of higher purpose. A magic deceiver is one who has learned to fool magic itself, combining known spells to devise entirely new forms of manipulation. Wow, that's pretty wild. Magic Fusion and Ways of the Deceiver. Some Arcanists have innate abilities closely linked to nature. They use their intelligence to dive deeper into the secrets of the world. That sounds pretty cool. Something I'd be into. Phantasmal Mage. Oh, you have to be a gnome for this. The strong bond with fairies determines the natural predisposition of gnomes to the magic of the first world. By sacrificing time to learn the modern Arcanist techniques, Phantasmal Mages become true masters of meta magic when it comes to the School of Illusion. So they get arcane meta magic. Unlettered Arcanists. Some Arcanists store their spells as whispered secrets within familiars instead of on paper. They get witch spells and familiar. Well, that's pretty cool. You get a little pet to hang out with you. White Mage is an Arcanist touched by a divine power and gifted with the ability to heal others. Spontaneous healing, but then loses Arcanist exploits. Then we have Barbarians. This is 1-star difficulty. They are all melee. For some reason, they have a little bit of support, a little bit of control, no magic, very little defense, very little ranged, and they're almost full in melee. So, Barbarians are melee warriors who plunge into rage to deal the enemies a lot of damage. They move fast and have a lot of health, but are poorly armored. As they advance, the Barbarians gain immunity to some of the enemy's tactical advantages. So this is something that's really cool, and I'm not going to go over the features and abilities or the prerequisites or anything, as we've just been cruising along here. Armored Hulk. So this has prerequisites, but this is crazy to me. Some barbarians disdain the hides and leather used as armor by most of their kin. Instead, they master the heaviest of armors, even those created by more civilized people, to gain greater protection and stability in battle. So you can play a barbarian with indomitable stance and heavy armor proficiency, but you lose fast movement. So crazy. Beastkin Berserker. While some barbarians take on bestial aspects in their rages, the Beastkin Berserker descends so deeply into primal fury that she actually transforms into an animal. Berserkers of the surface world often associate with predators such as bears or wolves, and some are sometimes mistaken for lycanthropes. Some barbarians shape change into rampaging dinosaurs or megafauna, crafting their armor out of the hide and bones of their favorite animals. So they get savage rapport, but lose fast movement. That's just at level 1, by the way, actually. There could be more stuff. Yep, Feral Transformation, added level 4, so we're not going to look at all of it. Flesh Eater. Eats flesh to create a spiritual bond between herself and the consumed creature, allowing her to take on aspects of the creature that served as the meal. Okay, Instinctual Warrior. Some people consider barbarians savages driven by rage and animal instincts. Instinctual warriors represent the opposite picture. They are concentrated fighters who are so adept at controlling their rage that they can fight blind, relying on only a sixth sense. They get all sorts of stuff, the Instinctual Warrior. but they lose basic rage and barbarian proficiencies. They get focused rage and other stuff. Invulnerable Rager. Some barbarians learn to take whatever comes their way, shrugging off mortal wounds with ease. These barbarians invite their enemies to attack them and use pain to fuel their rage. Then there's a Mad Dog. Though named for the wild savages who fight alongside rabid dogs, Mad Dogs employ all manner of beasts as their battle brethren. Pretty cool. They get an animal companion. Pack Rager. Barbarian rages can be a thing of savage beauty, exhibiting a lethal grace. While such uncontrolled displays of carnage often disregard group tactics, there are those barbarians whose rages inspire and spur on their allies during the ferocious dance of death. So a little bit of support there from the barbarian, which we saw in the chart. Then there's Bard. We've seen them. They're all support, a little bit of range, no melee or defense, which is weird because I was using my archaeologist a lot in melee, but they get a little bit of control and magic. So we went over the archaeologist a bit already. Beast Tamer. Bards originate from a variety of backgrounds, including former shepherds, street charmers, and such. Those who find animals a more appreciative audience than humans are usually become known as beast tamers. Such bards can greatly enhance the abilities of their beastly allies through inspiring performances. And they can do spontaneous summoning, inspire ferocity, beast call, summon nature's ally 1. At level 1, Chelaxian Diva. Cheliax is well known for its elaborate operas, and as with any kind of theater, there are performers whose egos get the better of them. Some have an inflated idea of their talent and importance. A few, the Chelaxian Divas, are wholly justified in their feelings of superiority. In their pursuit of glory, their magic and discipline allow them to prove themselves better than any upstart actor, dancer, or chorus member, and when crossed, their fury is legendary. That is wild. They're famous, which she adds half her class level, minimum 1, as a bonus on a persuasion check when used for diplomacy or bluff. But she loses bardic knowledge. Interesting. The Dirge Bard, a composer of sonorous laments for the dead and elaborate requiems for those lost yet long remembered. Dirge Bards master musical tools and tropes that must appeal to the ears and hearts of both the living and the dead. Interesting. Composer. Flame Dancer studies the movements of fire, adding its grace to his repertoire. He seeks truth in fire's burning essence and uses his performance to unleash the power of fire against those who dare oppose him. Thundercaller. Among mystical leaders are those who speak for the spirits of the land, who bear the knowledge of the ancients, and whose voices ring like thunder, calling the sky's wrath down upon their enemies. And finally, Tranquil Whisperer. Some bards use their upbeat music to fire up their allies, but Tranquil Whisperers do the opposite. They play their soothing compositions to alleviate any emotional pressure on their comrades and improve their concentration. That's pretty cool. By the way, once we get through character creation, I feel like the game itself is going to be a lot easier to get through, because I think there's either a lot of voice acting or... I mean, I don't mind reading the text when we get to it. It's just I figured like getting over this hump here with all these classes was going to take a while. We'll see. Next is Blood Rager, 3-star difficulty. Pretty interesting balance here. Very much melee. Little bit of magic, little bit of support, little bit of defense. Blood Ragers are berserkers who succumb to rage to increase their power in melee fight. They can use a basic set of arcane spells, mostly to empower themselves. As a Blood Rager advances, they gain immunity to certain enemies' tactical advantages. So this is like a barbarian with a little bit of magic. Interesting. I've never seen this before. Blood Rider. In the world's wildlands, a mount is an advantage in both everyday life and the dealing of death. In many barbarian tribes, the true stature of a warrior is determined by his skill and ferocity on horseback. Other tribes measure it in skill atop whatever terrible mounts their people employ. A number of Blood Ragers are not only skilled in the art of mounted combat, but have learned to channel their arcane energies directly into their mount. Wow. Green Ranger. Typically, nature finds its greatest harmony with divine magic, but sometimes a connection with the natural world manifests itself through the arcane current in the veins of the Blood Rangers, called Green Rangers. These Blood Rangers funnel their Eldritch heritage into abilities that allow them to call powerful allies from nature and empower them with their blood rage. Okay. Hag Riven. The painful rituals that create a hag riven can work for any creatures tenacious enough to endure them. Those who survive without transforming into hags are scarred and saturated in arcane power. And immediately you get Claws of the Hag. Huh. Mixed Blood Ranger. Sometimes mixed blood makes a Blood Ranger into an unstoppable martial machine, forcing conflicting impulses on his mind. He gets a mixed bloodline. He can use his strange heritage to invoke powers of different bloodlines. Once per day, he can choose a bloodline. Until the next time he chooses a bloodline, he gains all the advantages of the chosen bloodline. That's pretty cool. Primalist. While Blood Rage powers come from the very essence of a Blood Ranger's being and are often strict and immutable, some Blood Rangers tap into ancient traditions and primitive wisdom to enhance their rages with something more primal. The Primalist mixes his bloodline with more traditional rage powers. Reformed Fiend. You have to be a tiefling. The teachings of Light Gods say that everyone deserves the right to redemption. We'll change this later, but everyone except the demons. Reformed fiends are demons who have entered on the path of good, although they still look like monsters in the eyes of the most living. But no one will dare to doubt that their rage with which they fight the creatures of evil is the force that the world needs most in these difficult times. So they get a more good bloodline versus their evil one, I guess. Spell Eater. Where other Blood Rangers learn to avoid or shrug off minor damage of all sorts, Spell Eaters tap into the power of their bloodline in order to heal damage as it comes, and can even cannibalize their own magical energy to heal more damage and continue taking the fight to the enemy. And Steel Blood. Most Blood Rangers prefer light armor, but some learn the secret of using heavy armors. These Steel Bloods plod around on the battlefield, inspiring fear and delivering carnage from within a steel shell. That's interesting. So not only do you have a barbarian that can use a little magic, but they're doing so in heavy armor. Armored swiftness even? Wow. Pretty wild stuff, guys. We're only to the sea, so let's see how long we've been playing already. 32 minutes. We're almost done. And nowhere near done. But anyway, Cavalier. 2-star difficulty, or 2-circle difficulty. Cavalier is a warrior who has an animal companion, a faithful steed they can ride into battle. They are strong melee fighters who can empower their allies. They're all melee, pretty good defense, little support, no magic, barely any control, and a little bit of ranged. And they do get an animal companion and other stuff. Beast Rider. The Cavalier is defined not only by his dedication to his order or his skill on the battlefield, but also by the special relationship he maintains with his mount. Where some Cavaliers are simply skilled with horses or well-trained knights, the Beast Rider spends his life in constant pursuit of the most perfect mount, forming bonds with greater, more powerful, and more exotic creatures. Cavalier of the Paw requires Halfling. Cavaliers of the Order of the Paw pledge to defend halflings, halfling settlements, and other innocent folks by patrolling the wilderness and seeking out possible threats to both individuals and whole communities. These Cavaliers hunt down potential danger with a ruthless efficiency and determination that non-halflings find surprising and even somewhat alarming. Disciple of the Pike. The Order of the Pike are renowned monster hunters taking on large game using ancient weapon arts combined with modern equipment. That sounds really cool and simple, but cool. Fearsome Leader. Fear is a good motivator, and some commanders use this fact to inspire their troops, preferring it to the usual approach. Fearsome Inspiration and other stuff. A Gendarme? Gendarm? A Gendarm? The Gendarm cares less or the gendarme. The gendarme cares less for the finer points of tactical precision than he does for the exhilaration of the charge. The rush of wind through the visor of his helmet, the feel of his couched lance, the satisfying shriek of armor giving way before his weapon's force as the point drives past metal into his foes. The gendarme. Ghost Rider. No animal companion. Ghost Riders are mysterious warriors riding on phantasmal steeds, seeking out and banishing all corruption. You get a ghost mount. How crazy is that? Oh my gosh, Knights of the Wall. The Cavaliers, known as Knights of the Wall, revere a famous general who was crucial in the defeat of a powerful wizard king. Pretty cool. And Standard Bearer. Not all Cavaliers are content to ride at the head of a charge, leading from the front and facing down their enemies directly. Some prefer to stand away from the fray, their banners a beacon shining brightly over the battlefield, rallying their troops to victory. The Standard Bearer employs the banner of his order, his lord, or his own house to raise the spirits of his allies and warns enemies of impending doom. And you do actually get a banner. Wow, that is wild. So we're going to stop there, guys. My episodes are usually 40 minutes or so. We can probably get through one more class, actually. Cleric, 3-star difficulty. Clerics devote their lives to serving gods. They have access to the most powerful divine spells. A cleric's main role is to heal and empower their allies. Depending on their specialization, some clerics are also good at weakening enemies or smiting them in the name of their faith. Absolutely no melee, little bit of range, no defense, crazy support, crazy magic, wee bit of control. First is an Angel Fire Apostle. Cannot have atheism. Angel Fire Apostles use the powers of good to avoid violence when possible and cleanse both maladies and evil creatures with blinding flames. Sorry if I sound a little stuffed up, guys. I do apologize. Crusaders serve as the militant arm of a church, ready to stand guard over the religion's holy places and to be its swift avenging arm against those who resist its truth. Demon-Bane Priest. Crusade-minded clerics train intensively to learn proper battlefield tactics to take advantage of the weakness of demons. Ecclesiathurge. Ecclesiathurge, whatever. Eschewing physical armor for protection via the strength of his faith, an Ecclesiathurge focuses on the miracles his deity bestows and the breadth of that deity's dominion. What was Crusader again? Oh, right, okay. Herald Caller. Unlike Crusaders or Paladins who charge headlong into battle in the name of their patron deities, Herald Callers are adept at calling powerful outsiders to aid their brethren in battle. Outsiders. Priest of Balance. Has some prerequisites. Life and death are two sides of the coin called the universe. Those clerics who do not give preference to either side and can compensate both types of energy in themselves become priests of balance. They are equally good at both giving and taking life, depending on how much their goals match with yours. And a separatist. A radical cleric, unsatisfied with the orthodoxy of her deity's teachings, forges her own path. Though most members of her faith would call her a separatist or heretic, she continues to receive spells from her deity. And that is where we will wrap it up. We'll try to get through as many classes each episode. And I think that's going to be the hardest part, is getting through the classes. Then we have race, definitely some pretty intense choices to make and stuff, feats and whatnot. But it's going to be fun, so we'll see how this goes. All this talking has made me very stuffy. So I'm sorry about that, but expect more of that probably if we're going to get, all deep in this talking and reading. And then there's the game itself, which obviously has a lot of text, but, we'll see how it goes. If it's a little too much, I will just abandon this series right away. But if it's going pretty well and we're having fun, then, I'll keep making them. So Next up is Druid. We'll check that out next time. So thank you guys for joining me. I do hope you enjoyed this first episode. If you did and you'd like to see more, and this is really important because it lets me know if you want to see more, and more will get made if so. But go ahead and hit the like button or leave me a comment or do both. That lets me know that you want to see more. If you're new, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but only do any of those things if you really want to, guys. No pressure. And yeah, we'll pick this up next time. I hope you guys will join me for that. Wait, do I just go back? Yeah. We'll just go back. There's nothing we really changed. We can just jump into a new game next time, so all good. Do come back. We'll check the rest of these classes and have some fun together. So until then, guys, be well, live well, stay well, and much love, peace, and joy. Catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.